The emergency council chamber aboard the flagship Eternal Wisdom hummed with the nervous energy of a dozen different species. Ambassador Zexthul's 4 eyes darted between the holographic display and the assembled representatives, his chitinous, plates clicking in distress. "The situation is beyond critical," he announced, his translator converting his melodic clicks into standard galactic. "The Void Hunters have established a fortress in the Kepler 442 system. Their dark matter cannons can obliterate entire fleets from 3 light-years away. Worse still, they've begun harvesting the system's star for fuel." A collective shudder rippled through the chamber. The Void Hunters were the galaxy's boogeyman, ancient, ruthless, and technologically superior to any known civilization. They had wiped out 17 species in the past millennium, leaving nothing but empty systems in their wake. "Retreat is our only option," wheezed Chancellor Morbith, her gas-filled breathing apparatus fogging with anxiety. "We cannot risk the coalition fleets in a suicidal assault. The mathematical probability of success is 0.03%, added Computational Admiral Zerion, its mechanical voice devoid of emotion but heavy with finality. "Even if we deployed every ship in the coalition, the fortress's shields would regenerate faster than we could damage them." Zexthul was about to call for a formal withdrawal when a new voice cut through the despair. "Mind if we take a look at those schematics?" Every being in the chamber turned toward the source. Captain Sarah Chen stood in the doorway, her simple, blue uniform stark against the elaborate ceremonial garb of the other species. Behind her, 3 other humans waited with the casual patience of people standing in line for coffee. "Captain Chen," Zexthul's voice carried a mixture of respect and confusion. "I wasn't aware humanity had been invited to this strategic session." Sarah shrugged, a gesture that had taken the galaxy years to interpret correctly. "We were in the neighborhood. Jenkins here picked up your distress call while he was calibrating our new radio array." She nodded toward a lanky human who was currently examining his fingernails with apparent fascination. "This is a matter of galactic security," Chancellor Morbith protested. "Your species has been part of the coalition for less than 50 standard years. You lack the experience." "Lady, no offense," interrupted Chief Engineer Rodriguez, not looking up from the datapad he was somehow already accessing. "But your impossible fortress looks like a Tuesday to us." The chamber fell silent. In galactic culture, questioning a superior species assessment was tantamount to declaring war. But humans, as the galaxy had learned, operated by different rules entirely. "Explain," Zexthul commanded, his curiosity overriding diplomatic protocol. Sarah stepped forward, gesturing casually at the holographic fortress that had struck terror into the hearts of every military strategist present. "See, you're all thinking about this wrong. You're trying to break through the shields, outgun the cannons, survive the dark matter blasts. That's playing their game." "What alternative exists?" Admiral Zerion inquired, its sensors focusing intently on the human captain. "Simple," said the 4th human, Specialist Murphy, speaking for the first time. "We don't fight the fortress, we steal it." The suggestion was so absurd that several species translators briefly malfunctioned. Chancellor Morbith made a sound like a deflating balloon. "The fortress is 3 kilometers in diameter," she gasped. "It has a crew of 50,000 Void Hunters. Its mass is equivalent to a small moon. How could you possibly—" "Rodriguez?" Sarah interrupted. The engineer looked up from his calculations. "Give me 6 hours, a couple of industrial replicators, and Jenkins' new radio thing. Oh, and I'll need about 47 of those self-heating coffee packets." "The coffee packets are crucial," Jenkins added solemnly, causing several alien species to frantically update their databases on human military strategy. What followed was 6 of the most perplexing hours in galactic military history. While coalition forces maintained a cautious perimeter around the Kepler 442 system, the humans worked with the focused intensity of caffeinated engineers solving a particularly interesting puzzle. They constructed what appeared to be an oversized router, bristling with quantum processors and reality manipulation matrices that hurt to look at directly. Jenkins muttered about bandwidth optimization, and multi-dimensional packet switching, while Murphy welded components together with the casual precision of someone assembling furniture. "This is madness," Zexthul observed, watching Rodriguez program a sequence that seemed to violate several laws of physics. "Even if your device functions as intended, the Void Hunters will detect any intrusion attempt." Sarah grinned, an expression that had become legendary throughout the galaxy for its ability to precede either miraculous victory or spectacular disaster. "That's the beauty of it. They're not going to detect anything because we're not actually going to intrude." At precisely 13:47 hours Coalition Standard Time, the humans activated their device. For exactly 3.7 seconds, reality hiccuped. When the universe resumed its normal operations, the Void Hunter fortress was gone. Not destroyed, not damaged. Gone. In its place floated a small message buoy broadcasting on all frequencies. "Thank you for choosing Human Tech Solutions. Your fortress has been successfully relocated to coordinates classified. Please allow 3 to 5 business days for delivery. Have a nice day." The emergency session that followed lasted 17 hours and required 3 different species medical teams to treat various forms of nervous collapse. The humans, meanwhile, had returned to their ship and were reportedly playing something called poker, while their fortress, because somehow it was theirs now, underwent what Rodriguez cheerfully termed aggressive renovation. "How?" was the only word Chancellor Morbith could manage when the humans finally agreed to explain. Jenkins scratched his head. "Well, it turns out that when you pump enough quantum-entangled radio waves through a dark matter power core, you can basically convince the universe that the fortress is actually somewhere else. The tricky part was making sure somewhere else had decent Wi-Fi." "The Void Hunters?" Zexthul inquired weakly. "Oh, they're fine," Sarah assured him. "We dropped them off at that resort planet in the Vega system. Figured they could use a vacation. Apparently conquering galaxies is pretty stressful work." Later, as the Coalition ships departed the now peaceful Kepler 442 system, Zexthul found himself standing beside Captain Chen in the observation deck. "Your species continues to astound us," he admitted. "What we considered impossible, you accomplished in an afternoon." Sarah chuckled, sipping from one of those ubiquitous coffee containers that seem to fuel human civilization. "That's the thing about impossible missions, Ambassador. They're only impossible until someone figures out they're not. Usually happens around Tuesday for us." "And if it had been a Monday?" "Oh, Mondays are different," Sarah replied seriously. "On Mondays, we would have just asked the fortress politely to leave. Amazing how often that works." As Zexthul pondered this revelation, he made a mental note to update the Galactic Threat Assessment database. Next to the entry for humanity, he would add a small but important annotation. "Approach with caution. Considers the impossible to be a scheduling inconvenience."